This just came in, and the owner of this device had sent it somewhere before to get fixed up. And some of the interesting things I see that I haven't seen before, like pretty much like ever. Normally it looks like these two openings here for like you could probe, you know, power on the ground. But in here, it's been like cut. I don't know what the purpose of that would be. If they were trying to check if there is a continuity between these pads here and headers here, well, I mean, you know, I guess that's one way of looking at it. But diving into this thing head first, I can tell for sure that just adding solder to to existing headers without making sure that they connect to what they were originally meant to be connecting with is a waste of time and potentially a threat to the device itself. I'm just gonna go ahead and clip all this stuff away from here, and there's chances are pads are gonna be flying, and that doesn't matter. In this case, you just assume the worst, that all the pads had already been blown off. So that's the connector. I'm going to turn on the fume extractor. So I want to clean this part up. So it's very common for Sandisk devices to get damaged like this from flexing. As I showed in the previous video that I was just filming this morning, this part right here, because how it's cut, it falls right on the line where the connector meets the board, right? All these 4 pads. That's what attaches the connector to the board. So flexing the device on this line usually breaks that connection. Sometimes it could be a pad that's pulled, sometimes it could be the header that's broken, but one way or the other, it basically destroys the connection between the USB port and the controller. So first things first, this needs to be cleaned up to assess the amount of damage. Always good to have a fresh blade. Only use the best. So this is what it should have been. This is what we should have started with. So 4-pin connector. How are we gonna go about this? I mean, probably it would be nice to just dry it out first. This is alcohol. By the time we're done, it's going to be fully dry underneath the NAND, so I'm not worried about that. This is the pad for the ground. We can use either scratched off part, or we can just run a ground into one of these ends. This here is power. So the power comes off USB and it goes right into here through these 2 via holes. It goes underneath, hits this and this capacitor, and things start to flow. This is data plus and data minus, both of these here. So I'm just gently scraping up. The mask. I keep calling it seal screening. I don't know why. Scrape off the mask. Scrape off the mask off of the power as well. right? So we need to tin all of this now. To tin it, I'm gonna use a micro pencil and the 63 37 mix. Yeah, micro pencil is not powerful enough for this kind of stuff, but that will do. What's there now is good enough. But for this, I'm gonna use a bigger 2027 on it. Tin this. For extending the traces, I'm gonna use 30 gauge wire that is raw, not coated. And I'm gonna use about an inch extension. And for the middle ones, I'm gonna use a smaller gauge, 36 gauge wire, just because it's easier to maneuver, and data positive and negative, they're really small, so putting 30 gauge wire into this is doable, but it may be a bit more challenging. There's one, and there's the other. So the middle ones are slightly longer. It's not going to change anything. It's still going to be just as effective, but it will give me a little bit more flexibility in terms of mounting them, right? So that's nice. Here we got a little bit of warping of the board here. I don't think it's gonna matter too much, but just wanted to bring that out there as well. Here's the connector, and I'm just gonna slap it somewhere around here. That's good ground. Don't ask me what the bunch of balloons are doing on the floor. Maybe I'll tell you later. Just bump the ISO a little bit. So here's the device. I always use an extension cord for connector jobs. One thing I'm looking for right now is flashing from this LED. Perfect. So I forgot to record the outro for this video, so I'm really hoping that you guys enjoyed watching this episode. If you're trying to get into electronic repair, just be more cautious. Try to do more research in terms of what tools you need to use, because really with doing a job like this, you don't really need to have tons of skill under your belt. You do need to have a precise microscope, you do need to have a precise soldering iron, some good flux, maybe some wire, and that will be it. I mean, just doing this kind of work without having the tools is what makes it challenging. But in the reality, doing a job like this to even help yourself out is not hard at all. And there are tons of places that are fully equipped that can get this job done for you. I'm not trying to say just send it here. Of course I'm saying send it here if you want to, but there are tons of places that can get this stuff done. All you just got to do is just make sure that they're qualified enough to do it. Because what you've seen today comes to us not only from an actual user and owner of the device, but this actually happens to come from places that claim to repair cell phones, places that claim to repair computers and stuff like that. And all I see is that they've been using automotive grade soldering equipment, which just cannot be used on something tiny like this. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. Follow me on Instagram on this handle right here. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. As always, subscribe, hit like. This definitely helps this channel grow, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.